During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about what is a root pit.
Well, when we think about what's going on in our fields, most times that I talk to farmers, they say, well, how's your corn looking? Oh, they'll start describing the leaves and everything above ground. Or how are your soybeans looking? Well, they have this many pods and this many branches and they're at this growth stage and all that. But I really have to come back with a follow-up question. What does it look like below ground? And if I get a blank stare, that makes me nervous. And if it does for you too, it's probably because you've been digging. And once you start digging underneath your plants, what you're going to find is a lot of times the issues you're seeing above ground relate to what's going on below ground. And that's why I want to talk about digging out the soil to see what that full root system looks like.
So if you're a non-farmer, you just drive past fields and you don't know what's going on below that field. But what we always say is, as much mass as there is above ground, there should be that much mass below ground. So just think about this enormous corn plant. Well, it should have that many roots too. Well, we want to find out where those roots are at. And in a wet year like this year, like right now even, it's raining on us. Well, when we have wet years, that means usually the water table is really high and roots can't grow into a water table. So at this point of the year, then a farmer can go out and dig down into that soil and just see how deep the roots got. Now, the maximum size of a corn root will be set at about tassel. So we're not there yet, obviously, in the field we're standing in today, but it won't be long. In about 2 or 3 weeks in this particular field, it'll be the maximum size for the corn root. That's when we want to go out and dig that root pit, and we really can see what's going on below ground.
And this really holds true with about any crop. Brian mentioned, hey, if you don't have fields, but you have a lawn, and you've got a brown area out in your lawn, do some digging, see what's going on. Do you have a fungus that's impacting your root growth? Do you have some insects that are out there? The same kinds of things will hold true whether you're in a field of corn or in your lawn.
Just to give you a quick story, one of the very first root pits we ever dug, this is probably 25 years ago now, we dig down about 4 feet and it was pretty wide. It was probably 8 feet, 10 feet wide. The very next morning we went out there was water standing at the bottom of the hole. Our corn was dying above ground because it was short of moisture, and you could see the corn roots, they were okay, but they were all in that top about 8 inches. You got down to about 2-3 feet, and then we had all kinds of moisture. So I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but even I can figure out that visual. It's like, hey, I got to connect my roots here to the water down below. We had a major compaction issue. We did everything we could to resolve that problem after we saw it in the root pit.
All right, we're standing on the edge of a field. A lot of times there are some issues on the edge that aren't going to be the case out in the middle of the field.
Right.
So we would suggest that you dig that root pit into the field just a little ways. But Brian, what about breaking off these corn plants?
Well, the first root pit we ever dug, our dad, it was on one of his fields, and he was all worried about, oh, you ran down a whole bunch of corn to get out to this. And I said, Dad, how many corn plants do we knock over? 500? Okay, here's $5. That's all your 500 corn plants are worth. Now, in today's dollars, they might be worth, that 500 plants, maybe $15, $10 to $15. That's it. That's all the corn plants are worth. So what if you run down 500 corn plants? It's no big deal. You want to get an education for the few plants that you've knocked over.
Well, we strongly encourage you to do some digging with whatever you're trying to grow and see what's happening below ground. We're talking about a root pit today where we're digging down 4 feet deep along our corn plants just to see what that root system looks like. It may not have to be a 4-foot pit for you, but you do need to find out if you want to explain what's happening above ground as well. One other thing that you may see as you're out there digging is our weed of the week. Can you identify this week's weed?